Los Angeles carries a strange rhythm after midnight. The streets grow quieter, the neon signs fade into the background, and the city that never sleeps starts revealing a different side of itself. One that is unpredictable, fragile, and sometimes unforgiving. On the early morning of November 22, 2025, that fragile silence was shattered in Northridge, when a rising Latin singer known to her fans as Delarosa encountered a danger she never expected. Maria De La Rosa, only 22 years old, had spent the past year carving out her identity as a young artist with ambition far bigger than the neighborhood she came from. Her music, her image, her presence, everything suggested she was just beginning a life that could have taken her far beyond Los Angeles. Weeks before the tragedy, she had released a new track, teasing her fans with the promise of a breakthrough. She had momentum, she had talent, and she had time, or so everyone thought. But in the earliest hours of that November morning, as she sat inside a parked car on Bryant Street near Tampa Avenue, that promise would be violently interrupted. The story begins quietly. Maria wasn't alone that night. She was with two companions, parked in a residential stretch of Northridge. Nothing about the moment seemed unusual or dangerous. It was the sort of calm, late-night stop anyone might make. But somewhere in that darkness, danger was already approaching. Three men, each armed not just with a weapon, but with intent. According to investigators, the suspects moved toward the parked car with a clear plan. Prosecutors later described it as an ambush-style attack, swift, ruthless, and deliberate. The men allegedly demanded money. What happened in the seconds that followed remains under investigation, but the situation escalated almost instantly. Gunfire erupted. The stillness of the night was replaced with chaos. Inside that small car, Maria was struck. Her companions survived. But Maria, the young artist with a career on the brink of rising, suffered injuries so severe that she could not be saved. Paramedics rushed her to the hospital, fighting a battle they were destined to lose. A short time later, Maria De La Rosa was pronounced dead, and Los Angeles lost a voice that had hardly begun to speak. By sunrise, the crime scene was wrapped in yellow tape, flashing lights, and stunned silence. Neighbors woke to the news that a shootout had occurred just feet from their homes. Fans woke to headlines they could not process. And Maria's family, those who had watched her chase her dreams, began a mourning that would never feel normal again. Within hours, the investigation moved fast. Detectives from the LAPD's Valley Bureau tracked down the suspects believed to be responsible. Charges came almost immediately. Three names emerged: Francisco Atilio Gayton, 27 Benny Licon-Gomez, 27 Eduardo Lopez. 21 prosecutors accused the trio of orchestrating a deadly attempted robbery that ended in Maria's killing. Court records show they now face severe charges, including first-degree murder, attempted robbery, and additional counts tied to the attack on the two surviving victims. Officials described the shooting as cold-blooded and targeted, the kind of violence that shakes a community to its core. As the news spread, fans filled social media with tributes, clips of Maria singing, short messages, artwork, and prayers. People who had never met her spoke about how deeply unfair it felt that someone so young, so full of potential, had her life cut short in such a sudden and senseless way. For her followers, this wasn't just another headline. It was a loss that felt personal. If you enjoy learning about the hidden truths of crime stories, consider hitting that like button and subscribing for more content like this. And please comment below to let me know where you're listening from. Let me tell you a story that will shake you. A young woman full of dreams went to work one morning and never came back. This is the story of Amber Czech. Picture this. It's early morning, November 11, 2025. The factory lights are just turning on. A 20-year-old welder fresh out of welding school shows up for her shift. Her name is Amber Czech. She's eager, she's proud of her craft, she has hope, she has a future. But something in that day, in that hour, was completely wrong. You probably believe factory jobs are safe. You think, work is routine, just do your job, go home. What if I tell you that same factory turned into a scene of horror? What if I tell you the danger wasn't from a machine malfunction, but from a coworker? What if I tell you that morning, the door between life and death was opened with a sledgehammer? Stay with me, because what happened next will haunt you. At 6:00 a.m., at a plant called Advanced Process Technologies in Kakado, Minnesota, Amber begins her shift like any other. She had completed a 10-month welding course just months ago. She had hopes, dreams, and she was being careful, hardworking, doing everything right. Then came a coworker, David Bruce DeLong, 40 years old. According to investigators, he left his own station, grabbed a sledgehammer, and walked straight toward Amber's workstation. What you're about to hear is chilling. He swung once, then again, multiple times. That blunt force object turned a workplace into a crime scene. Surveillance footage reportedly captured it all. First swing, she may have been standing. Then more swings after she fell. She never stood up again. They found her with major head trauma, blood loss. She was dead before help could save her. And the worst part, after doing this, DeLong allegedly told someone, "I hit her with your hammer, she is gone." He later confessed police he had planned this for some time because he said he did not like her. Amber wasn't just another worker. She was a dreamer, a young woman trying to build a future for herself. She had recently graduated high school, played basketball in school, then trained in welding. She had started at the factory not long ago. Friends remember her for her smile, her determination. People say she was kind, optimistic, ready to prove herself in a world that often doesn't expect much from a woman in a heavy industry job. She had a future, but in a moment of horror, all that potential gone. After the brutal attack, the police arrived quickly. The suspect, DeLong, was arrested on the spot. The hammer bloody, the crime captured on camera, the confession chilling. He has been charged with second-degree murder. Bail set at $2 million. Naturally, this sent shockwaves through the community. People are asking, how could this happen at a workplace? A place you expect to be safe. Trade unions and workers' advocacy groups have called this an urgent wake-up call. They say this is not just one isolated tragedy. It reflects deeper issues, harassment, hostility, and insecurity many women in male-dominated trades face daily. A GoFundMe has been launched to support Amber's family. People lined up at local spots, shared condolences, demanded justice. Many women in similar jobs started speaking up, sharing stories of threats, ignored complaints, and fear on job sites. This isn't just a crime story. It's a warning, a harsh reminder that sometimes the greatest danger doesn't come from heavy machinery or hazardous materials. It comes from prejudice, hatred, and disregard for a human life. Because Amber was different. She dared to walk a path few women choose. She dared to dream. And for that, she was killed. If you think about workplace safety, think also about respect, equality, dignity. Because protection isn't just about helmets and gloves. It's about safe environments where no one lives in fear of violence. You may watch this video and feel anger. You may feel sorrow. But if something from Amber's story stays with you, let it be this. Respect is not optional. Safety is not optional. Humanity is not optional. If we want a world where people, especially women, can work without fear, we must speak out. We must demand accountability. We must build workplaces where dignity is as important as deadlines. Amber's life was stolen, but her death, let it not be in vain. Let it spark change. Let it remind us, every worker deserves more than a job. They deserve respect. They deserve safety. They deserve to come home. So the next time you hear about a routine job, remember Amber. Because routine isn't always safe, not when prejudice is allowed to hide behind the hum of machines. R.I.P. Amber, and may your story not be forgotten.